I woke to the sharp scent of antiseptic and the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor that refused to let me drift back into unconsciousness. Every breath scraped against my ribs like broken glass. My left arm felt as heavy as wet cement, wrapped in thick bandages that reached almost to my shoulder. The ceiling above me was painfully white, the fluorescent lights too bright for eyes that had only just reopened. For a few moments I couldn't remember why I was there. Then the memories returned all at once. Rain, twisted metal, the deafening scream of tires, a truck crossing the center line, my hands gripping the steering wheel, everything spinning. I tried to sit up, but a wave of pain shot through my chest, forcing me back against the pillow. The hospital room door opened. Relief washed over me. Nathan, my husband. For one hopeful second, I believed he had rushed here worried sick, waiting outside the operating room all night. Instead, he walked in wearing the same tailored charcoal suit he wore to board meetings. His tie was perfectly straight. His expensive watch caught the morning sunlight filtering through the blinds. Not a wrinkle. Not a trace of exhaustion. He wasn't carrying flowers. He wasn't carrying coffee. He wasn't carrying hope. He carried a manila folder. Behind him walked a woman in a navy business suit carrying a leather briefcase. I recognized her immediately. Karen Mitchell, our family attorney. A cold knot settled in my stomach. Nathan didn't kiss my forehead. He didn't ask how I felt. He barely looked at the machines keeping track of my heartbeat. Instead, he placed the folder carefully across my hospital blanket. "Good," he said casually. "You're awake." His voice sounded like he was discussing quarterly sales figures, not speaking to the woman he'd been married to for 11 years. I blinked at him. "Nathan." Karen quietly removed several pages from the folder and laid them neatly on the rolling hospital table. I stared. Legal documents. Highlighted signature lines. Tabs marking important pages. Nathan slipped a silver pen from his jacket pocket and clicked it open. "I'd like to make this easy for both of us." He smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't nervous. It was practiced. Almost relieved. "Sign the divorce papers." For several seconds I honestly thought I had misunderstood him. The medication had to be affecting my hearing. "What?" "The papers," he repeated patiently, sliding them closer. "We've already agreed on the terms. We haven't discussed divorce. We discussed it months ago." "No. You refused to listen." His expression never changed. "I've moved on, Emily." My mouth went dry. Months ago, he had mentioned counseling once. We argued after he'd started coming home later and later. I'd begged him to tell me what was wrong. He insisted he was stressed, building the company, trying to secure investors. I'd believed him. Apparently, I'd been the only one trying to save our marriage. Karen shifted uncomfortably. "Nathan." "It's fine," he interrupted. "We're adults." He looked back at me. "I've already rented another place." Every word landed like another fracture. "I've transferred my personal belongings." Another fracture. "I've started seeing someone else." Another. "I'd appreciate it if we could finalize everything today." The monitor beside my bed began beeping faster. A nurse glanced through the small window in the door before continuing down the hallway. I stared at him. 11 years. 11 birthdays. 11 anniversaries. Late-night takeout after impossible workdays. Building our first home. Dreaming about children we kept postponing because life was always too busy. Gone. Reduced to paperwork. "You waited until I nearly died?" Nathan sighed. "I waited until the timing made sense." Those words hurt more than the accident. The timing. "You'll be recovering for months. You won't be working. This is the cleanest transition." Transition. Like replacing office software. Like upgrading furniture. Not ending a marriage. Tears blurred my vision. "Were you going to tell me before the accident?" He hesitated. "No." At least that answer was honest. Karen quietly cleared her throat. "Mrs. Carter, you are under no obligation to sign today." Nathan shot her an irritated look. "I thought we discussed efficiency." She met his eyes evenly. "I also discussed informed consent." I looked down at the first page. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Our names. Our address. Property distribution. financial agreements, everything already prepared. He hadn't come here hoping we'd talk. He'd come expecting compliance. As though my survival had simply interrupted his schedule. You already planned everything. Yes. When? A while ago. While telling me you loved me? Silence. The silence answered better than words. Pain settled deep inside my chest. Not physical pain. Something heavier. Something that spread slowly through every memory I'd ever treasured. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Nathan checked his watch. I have another meeting in 45 minutes. Of course he did. I don't want lawyers going back and forth for months. If you sign now, you'll keep the house. I looked at him. Our house. The one my grandfather helped us buy? He looked away. The equity division is fair. Fair. That word almost made me laugh. Instead I whispered, "Who is she?" Nathan didn't answer immediately. Then, Claire. The name meant nothing. It became serious. When? Silence again. I didn't need details. The silence confessed enough. Karen quietly gathered one corner of the paperwork. We can postpone. Nathan stopped her. No. He pushed the pen toward me. Emily. Please. This doesn't need to be emotional. I actually smiled. A broken smile. The kind that appears only when someone's heart has cracked too completely to hold together. Our marriage. My life. My future. And you're asking me not to make it emotional? He rubbed his forehead. I knew this would be difficult. No, he didn't. If he had known, he wouldn't have stood there looking mildly inconvenienced. He would have looked guilty, ashamed, human, and said, he looked impatient. A knock interrupted the silence. A young nurse stepped inside carrying medication. She paused immediately after sensing the tension. I'm sorry. I can come back. Nathan answered before I could. We're finishing some paperwork. The nurse looked at the divorce documents, then at me. My tears. My bandages. Her expression hardened. I think the patient needs rest. Nathan smiled politely. It'll only take a minute. She didn't move. Hospital staff develop instincts. She knew something was wrong. I'll notify Dr. Reynolds you're awake. She placed the medication on the table. And perhaps security can limit visitors if necessary. Nathan frowned. That won't be necessary. She met his eyes without blinking. We'll let the patient decide. After she left, the room became painfully quiet again. Nathan exhaled. This is becoming unnecessarily dramatic. I slowly reached toward the papers. His shoulders relaxed. He genuinely believed I was going to sign. My fingers touched the first page. Instead of reaching for the pen, I turned the entire stack upside down, then pushed it back across the blanket. No. His smile disappeared. No. I won't sign today. His jaw tightened. You'll only delay the inevitable. Maybe. But I won't make the biggest decision of my life while I can't even stand without assistance. Karen nodded almost imperceptibly. Nathan's patience finally cracked. This is exactly why I wanted to avoid complications. I stared at him. You wanted convenience. He opened his mouth, closed it again, then collected the papers with sharp, irritated movements. I'll have my attorney contact yours. Karen looked almost embarrassed. I am his attorney. I couldn't help letting out a bitter laugh. Of course. Nathan tucked the folder under his arm. You'll hear from us. Not him. He had already become part of another life. Another future. He turned toward the door without looking back. Just before reaching it, he paused. Oh. He glanced over his shoulder. I forgot. I'll need the engagement ring returned once everything is finalized. The words hung in the room like poison. I looked down at my left hand. My wedding ring was gone. Probably removed during surgery. For swelling. For medical equipment. I wondered if that bothered him more than almost losing his wife. Without waiting for my answer, he opened the door. At that exact moment, heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. Not hurried. Not frantic. Measured. Disciplined. Several voices followed. Hospital staff suddenly straightened. Someone outside quietly said, General Harrison has arrived. Nathan barely noticed. He stepped into the hallway and stopped so abruptly that Karen nearly walked into him. A deep, commanding voice echoed just beyond the doorway. "Where is Colonel Emily Carter?" Nathan slowly turned back toward me, confusion spreading across his face. For the first time since entering my hospital room, he looked uncertain. The silence that followed those words seemed to swallow every sound in the hallway.